Tay opened his eyes to darkness and the smell of metal. His head hurt badly. He tried to move, but his hands were locked in cold metal chains. The floor under him vibrated with a low hum. He was on a ship, but not his ship. The last thing he remembered was the explosion. Pirates had attacked the transport vessel carrying colonists from Earth to the new settlement. His parents had pushed him and his sister Hana into an escape pod. Then fire, screaming, nothing. Light suddenly flooded the room. Tay squeezed his eyes shut against the brightness. When he opened them again, he saw he was not alone. Dozens of creatures sat chained like him. Some looked almost human. Others had too many arms or eyes or scales instead of skin. None of them looked happy. "You awake, small one?" A voice growled nearby. Tay turned his head and saw a massive creature with gray skin and tusks. "First time in chains?" "Where am I?" Tay asked. His voice came out weaker than he wanted. "The Vorton slave ship. We going to the arena." The creature spat on the floor. "You too young. Too small. They feed you to the beast quick. The arena? You really don't know?" Another voice spoke. This one sounded almost human. Tay looked and saw a woman with pale blue skin and white hair. "The Vorton Empire runs gladiator games. They take prisoners and slaves from all over the galaxy and make them fight. For entertainment." Tay felt his stomach drop. "Fight? I don't know how to fight." "Then you die fast," the tusked creature said. "Maybe that better anyway." The blue woman gave Tay a sad look. "What species are you?" "I never seen one like you." "Human, from Earth." The whole room went quiet. Then someone laughed. Then everyone laughed except the blue woman. "Humans?" The tusked creature roared with laughter. "The soft-worlders?" "The weak ones with no claws or armor." "Oh, they really want you dead quick." Tay felt anger rise in his chest. He was scared, yes, but he would not let these creatures laugh at him. "I survived the pirate attack. I'll survive this too." "Big words from a small creature," someone else said. Before Tay could respond, the door opened. Guards marched in. They were tall, with silver-scaled skin and 4 arms. Their eyes were black and cold. "Vortans, move! All of you!" one guard shouted. He hit his weapon against the wall. It made a loud clang that hurt Tay's ears. The prisoners stood and shuffled forward in their chains. They were led through narrow metal corridors. Tay tried to memorize the path but quickly got lost. Everything looked the same. They entered a large room with cages along the walls. Each prisoner was thrown into a separate cage. Tay hit the floor hard when they tossed him in. The cage door slammed shut with a bang. "Processing in 1 hour," a guard said. "Prepare to meet your new masters." The guards left. Tay sat on the cold floor and looked around his cage. It was small, barely big enough for him to lie down. A thin mat lay in one corner. Nothing else. In the cage next to him, a small creature with 6 legs whimpered. Tay could not tell what it was. "Hey," he whispered. "You okay?" The creature looked at him with big yellow eyes. "They will make us fight." "I cannot fight. I'm a builder, not a warrior." "Maybe we won't have to fight," Tay said, though he did not believe his own words. "You have hope. That good. Keep it as long as you can." The creature curled into a ball and went silent. Tay leaned his head against the bars. He closed his eyes and thought of Hana. His sister was only 14. Where was she? Was she on this ship too? Or was she dead? No, he could not think like that. Hana was alive. She had to be alive. And he would find her. Somehow. An hour passed. Maybe 2. Time felt strange in the metal room. Then the guards returned. They dragged prisoners out one by one. When they reached Tay's cage, one guard looked at him with curiosity. "This one looks weak. Why they bring weak ones?" "Commander says the crowd likes variety. They bet on how fast the weak ones die." They pulled Tay out and dragged him to another room. This room had machines and screens. A Vorton with red markings on his scales stood waiting. He looked at Tay like someone looking at a broken tool. "Human," the Vorton said. He poked at a screen. "New species. No combat data. No known abilities." He looked at Tay. "Can you even fight, small creature?" "I can learn," Tay said. The Vorton laughed. "No time for learning. You fight in 3 days. Win and you live. Lose and you die, simple." He waved his hand. "Take him to the holding pens. Wait!" Tay shouted as guards grabbed him again. "My sister." "A girl younger than me. Was she brought here?" The Vorton looked bored. "Many prisoners come through here. Who knows? If she here, maybe you see her if you live long enough." He turned away. "Next prisoner." They threw Tay into a new cage in a different room. This room was full of cages with fighters inside. Real fighters. Creatures with muscles and scars and weapons. They all looked at him like he was already dead. Tay sat down and pulled his knees to his chest.
3 days.
He had 3 days before they made him fight. 3 days to figure out how to survive. A sound made him look up. In the corner of the room, a screen showed images of the arena. Massive crowds cheered as 2 creatures fought with swords and claws. One creature fell. The crowd roared. The winner raised his 4 arms in victory. The winner was the biggest Vortan Tai had ever seen. Silver scales covered with old scars. Black eyes that showed no mercy. The screen showed his name, Krell, the Alpha Hunter. Undefeated champion Tay watched the screen for a long time. He studied how Krell moved, how he anticipated attacks, how he turned defense into offense. If Tai was going to survive, he needed to learn everything he could. Somewhere in this terrible place, Hana might be alive. That thought alone kept the fear from crushing him completely. He would not die in 3 days. He refused to. He would survive, find his sister, and somehow get them both home to Earth, even if he had no idea how. 3 days passed too quickly. Tay spent every moment watching the screens, studying the fighters, trying to understand how to stay alive. He barely ate. He barely slept. When he did sleep, nightmares of Hana screaming woke him up. On the morning of his fight, a woman came to his cage. She looked human except for her eyes, which were too bright and sharp. She wore a gray uniform with medical symbols. "You are the human fighter?" she asked in a quiet voice. "I guess," Tay said. She looked around to make sure no guards were watching. Then she slipped something small through the bars. A tiny pill. "Take this before you fight. It will help with pain and keep you awake longer." "Why are you helping me?" "Because I am human too. My name is Yuna. I work in the medical bay." She leaned closer. "Listen carefully. You cannot win your fight. Your opponent is too strong. But you can survive. Humans heal faster than most species. We endure more pain. Use that. Make them see you will not quit." "How do I do that?" "Refuse to fall. No matter what happens, stay on your feet as long as you can. If you last the time limit, they call it a draw. You live another day." She glanced toward the door. "I have to go." "Good luck, Tay. Wait. Do you know if a girl named Hana is here?" "She is my sister." Yuna's face went sad. "I know of her. She is in the breeding pens, but she is alive." She hurried away before Tay could ask more. Tay felt sick. Breeding pens. He knew what that meant. He had heard other prisoners talk about it. They took females and used them to produce more slaves. Anger burned in his chest hotter than fear. He would survive this fight. He would survive many fights. And he would get Hana out of this hell. An hour later, guards came for him. They put him in armor that barely fit. It was too big and heavy. They gave him a short sword that felt wrong in his hand. Then they pushed him into a dark tunnel. "Walk forward when the gate opens," a guard said. "Try not to die too fast." The crowd paid good money. The gate opened. Light blinded him. Sound hit him like a physical force. Thousands of voices screaming and cheering. Tay walked forward onto sand that was stained dark with old blood. The arena was huge, larger than any stadium on Earth. Seats rose up in circles filled with creatures from dozens of species. They all wanted to see him die. Across the arena, another gate opened. A massive creature walked out. It had 4 arms, each one holding a weapon. Its skin was dark green and looked like rock. Spikes grew from its shoulders. This was Drax, the veteran fighter, the creature who had killed 30 opponents. A voice boomed from speakers. "Today we have a special treat. A human, fresh from the soft world called Earth. Can this weak creature survive even 5 minutes against the mighty Drax?" The crowd roared with laughter and excitement. Drax looked at Tay and smiled, showing teeth like knives. "I will make this quick, little one." "Thanks," Tay said. His voice shook. He swallowed the pill Yuna had given him. A bell rang. The fight started. Drax did not rush. He walked slowly toward Tay, spinning his weapons. Showing off for the crowd. Tay backed away, trying to think. The sword in his hand felt useless. How could he hurt this creature? Drax swung. Tay barely dodged. The weapon hit the sand where he had been standing and left a deep cut in the ground. The crowd cheered. "Run, little human. Run," Drax laughed. Tay ran, not away but to the side. He remembered something from the videos. Good fighters controlled the center. Bad fighters ran in circles. He needed to not be predictable. Drax swung again. This time, Tay could not dodge completely. The weapon hit his shoulder. Pain exploded through his body. The armor cracked. Tay stumbled but did not fall. Still standing. Drax sounded surprised, strong for a soft-worlder. Tay said nothing. He focused on breathing, on staying upright. The pill Yuna gave him started working. The pain became distant like it was happening to someone else. Drax attacked again and again. Each hit hurt worse than the last. Tay's armor broke apart piece by piece. Blood ran down his arm, then his leg. His ribs felt broken. But he stayed on his feet. The crowd grew quieter. They expected a quick kill. This was not quick. Drax grew frustrated. He grabbed Tay with two of his forearms and squeezed. Bones cracked. Tay screamed, but with his free hand he stabbed his sword into the gap between Drax's arm and body. Not deep, but enough to make the creature let go. Tay fell to the sand. For a moment he wanted to stay down, to let the darkness take him. But then he thought of Hana in the breeding pens. He thought of Yuna risking herself to help him. He thought of all the humans who might be captured and brought here. He pushed himself up. Blood and sand covered his face. His left arm hung wrong, but he stood. The crowd went silent. Even Drax stopped and stared. "You should be dead," Drax said quietly. "Probably," Tay agreed. He could barely see. Everything was blurry. But he raised his sword with his good arm. Drax attacked again. Tay could not dodge anymore. The hit sent him flying. He crashed into the arena wall. More bones broke. Blood filled his mouth, but the bell rang. "Time was up. Draw," the announcer shouted, sounding shocked. "The human survives." This is unprecedented for a first-timer. The crowd exploded in confusion and excitement. Some cheered. Some threw garbage into the arena. Tay could not hear any of it. His vision went dark. He woke up in the medical bay. Yuna stood over him, working on his injuries with strange machines. "You did it," she whispered. "You actually did it." "Hana," Tay tried to say, but his mouth did not work right. "She is still alive. I sent her a message. She knows you fight for her." Yuna put something over his face. "Sleep now. You earned it." As Tay drifted off, he did not see the figure watching from the doorway. Krell, the alpha hunter, stood with his forearms crossed. His black eyes studied the small human who refused to die. "Interesting," Krell said to himself. Then he walked away into the shadows. In his private chamber, Krell pulled up the fight recording. He watched it 3 times. The human had no skill, no training, no chance of winning. But he had something else. Something Krell recognized because he had it too. The human had a reason to live that was stronger than the reason to die. Krell made a decision that night. A decision that would change everything. Tomorrow he would visit the human. He wanted to know what gave such a small, weak creature the strength to stand when he should fall. He wanted to understand what it meant to be human. Tay woke to pain. Every part of his body hurt. But he was alive. The medical machines beeped softly around him. Yuna had done good work. His broken bones were already healing, held together by strange metal braces. "You awake." A deep voice spoke from beside his bed. Tay turned his head slowly. Sitting in a chair that looked too small for him was Krell, the alpha hunter. Up close he was even more frightening. Scars covered his silver scales. His forearms were thick with muscle. His black eyes showed no emotion. "Why did you not quit?" Krell asked. Tay's throat was dry. He tried to speak but only coughed. Krell reached over with one hand and held a cup of water to Tay's lips. The gesture was surprisingly gentle for such a dangerous creature. "My sister," Tay finally said. "They have my sister in the breeding pens. I need to save her." Krell was quiet for a long moment. "You fight for family. Not for glory or freedom. For family." "Yes, good reason." Krell stood up. His head almost touched the ceiling. "I had a sister once. She died in the arena. I was too weak to save her then." He looked at Tay with those cold black eyes. "You are weak too. But you have something. I saw it in your fight." "What?" "You refuse to accept death. Most fighters fear death and it makes them weak. You do not fear it. You just ignore it." Krell walked to the door, then stopped. "I will return tomorrow. If you want to save your sister, you need training." "Real training? Why would you help me?" Tay asked. Krell did not turn around. "Because I could not save my sister. Maybe I can help you save yours." Then he was gone. Yuna appeared a few minutes later. Her eyes were wide. Did Krell really just visit you? Yes, he said he will train me. That is impossible. Champions do not train slaves. It is against the rules, but Yuna smiled a little. Then again, Krell does not care much about rules. This could be good for you. Very good. Over the next few days, Tay healed with shocking speed. Yuna said humans healed faster than most species, but even she was surprised. On the 5th day, Krell returned. Come, he said. We train now. Krell took Tay to a private training room. It was filled with weapons and training equipment. Another human was already there, a man with short black hair and sharp eyes. This is Jin, Krell said. He was a soldier on your Earth colony ship. He will help with training. Jin nodded at Tay. I heard about your fight. Impressive for someone with no training. Let's make sure the next fight goes better. The training was brutal. Krell pushed Tay harder than he thought possible. He learned how to move, how to read an opponent, how to turn his small size into an advantage. Jin taught him human fighting techniques. Together they created a style that used the best of both. Vortans are strong but rigid, Krell explained. We rely on power. You are flexible, use that. Bend when we would break. Every day Tay trained until he could not stand. Then he trained more. His body adapted quickly. Muscles he never had before began to grow. His reflexes got faster. But more importantly, he learned to think like a fighter. Between training sessions, Krell told stories of his own time as a slave. How he fought his way up from nothing. How he earned respect through blood and determination. How he lost his sister in her very first fight because he could not protect her. You remind me of her, Krell said one day. Small but fierce. She never quit either. What was her name? Tay asked. Kira, she was my battle sister. Krell looked away. When she died, I swore I would never let anyone else mean that much to me. But maybe I was wrong. Maybe fighting alone makes you weaker, not stronger. Tay's second fight came 3 weeks after his first. This time he had armor that fit, weapons he knew how to use. And training that made him dangerous. His opponent was a veteran, but not as strong as Drax. Tay won in less than 10 minutes. The crowd was shocked. The human who should have died was now winning. He won his third fight 2 weeks later. Then his fourth. Each victory brought him closer to his goal. 5 wins meant he could claim a prize. Any prize, even another prisoner's freedom. But success brought attention. Commander Vorn, the arena master, did not like that a slave was winning too much. He especially did not like that Krell was training this slave. You break tradition, Vorn told Krell after Tay's 4th win. Champions do not help slaves. I help who I choose, Krell said calmly. Not anymore. I forbid further contact between you and the human. He fights his next match alone. Krell's eyes went cold. You challenge my authority? I enforce the rules. You may be champion, but you are still subject to arena law. That night, Krell did something no one expected. He called a formal gathering of all arena fighters and officials. Hundreds of creatures filled the great hall. Commander Vorn stood at the front, looking confident. Krell walked to the center. His forearms were spread wide. I invoke the old ways. The way of the battle bond. The room went silent. Even Vorn looked shocked. What are you doing? Vorn demanded. I claim Tay the human as my battle brother. By Vorten law, he is now family. You cannot separate us without dishonoring me. And if you dishonor me, you dishonor the arena itself. The crowd erupted in argument. Claiming an alien as battle brother was unheard of, especially a human, a species considered weak. An old Vortan named Koth stepped forward. He was an elder respected by all. Krell speaks truth. The battle bond is sacred. If he claims the human as brother, we must accept it. This is madness, Vorn shouted. The human is weak. He is not worthy. He survived Drax when all bets said he would die in seconds, Koth said calmly. He has won 4 fights. He trains harder than warriors twice his size. What more proof of worth do you need? Krell looked directly at Vorn. Do you question my judgment? Vorn knew he was trapped. If he said yes, he could challenge Krell to a fight. But no one could beat Krell. If he said no, he had to accept the battle bond. I do not question your judgment, Vorn finally said. He looked like he was eating poison. The battle bond is accepted. Later in the training room, Tay asked Krell, why did you do that? You could have just trained me secretly. Krell put one of his large hands on Tay's shoulder. Because you are not my secret. You are my brother, and brothers stand together in the light, not hidden in shadows. He smiled, which looked scary with all his teeth. Besides, now you have protection. Vorn cannot make your fights unfair without insulting me. Thank you, Tay said quietly. Thank me by winning your 5th fight. Then we get your sister out of this place. That night, Tay received a secret message from Yuna. Hana had heard about the battle bond. She sent a message back. I knew you would not abandon me. Win one more time, brother, then we both go home. Tay looked at the message for a long time. Home, Earth. It seemed so far away now, but it was still there, and he would see it again. With his battle brother by his side, anything felt possible. News of Krell's battle bond spread across the galaxy like fire. Every species heard about it. A human, considered weak by most of the galaxy, had been claimed as brother by the greatest Vortan warrior. Some found it inspiring, others found it insulting. In the arena, everything changed. Other humans started receiving better treatment. Guards were less cruel. Food improved. Krell's influence protected not just Tay, but all humans by extension. Word spread that humans were under the Alpha Hunter's protection. Tay met more humans during this time. There was Mira, an engineer who kept the arena's systems running. She was smart and brave, often sabotaging equipment to help prisoners. She became friends with Yuna and Jin, forming a small network of humans working together. There are maybe 50 humans in the arena now, Mira told Tay one day. More arrive every week. Earth's location is no longer secret. Slavers are hunting our colony ships. Can Earth send help? Tay asked. Earth barely has a space fleet, Jin said. We are new to space travel compared to the rest of the galaxy. They might not even know where we are. But help or not, Tay had a mission. Win his 5th fight. Claim Hana's freedom. Then figure out how to get everyone home. His training intensified. Krell taught him advanced techniques, things usually reserved for master fighters. Tay absorbed everything. His human brain adapted quickly, finding patterns and solutions that Vortan fighters never considered. You fight like water, Krell observed one day. Vortans fight like stone, strong but fixed. You flow around obstacles. Very strange, very effective. Is strange good? Tay asked, breathing hard after a sparring session. Strange is good. Strange means unpredictable. Unpredictable wins fights. But as Tay's 5th fight approached, a new problem arrived. A massive Vortan warship docked with the arena station. From it emerged War Chief Thane, one of the most powerful military leaders in the Vortan Empire. Thane was bigger than Krell, with dark red scales and cold eyes. He came with 100 warriors and an angry purpose. I hear my greatest champion has disgraced himself, Thane announced in the arena's great hall, claiming a soft-worlder as kin, making a mockery of Vortan tradition. Krell stood before him, calm and unafraid. I've broken no laws. The battle bond is ancient and sacred. The battle bond is for warriors. This human is no warrior. He is entertainment. A pet you have grown fond of. Thane looked around the hall. I offer a challenge. If this human is truly worthy, let him prove it. Let him face a real Vortan warrior in fair combat. Tay has already won 4 fights, Elder Koth said from the council seats, against slaves and criminals, not against a trained Vortan soldier. Thane smiled, and it was not friendly. I propose a test. The human fights my personal champion, Kesh. If the human wins, I will personally recognize humanity as a warrior species worthy of respect. All humans in the arena will be granted prisoner of war status instead of slave status. And if he loses? Krell asked quietly. If he loses, all humans become permanent arena property, and you must renounce your battle bond. You must admit you were wrong about the human's worth. The hall erupted in arguments. Commander Vorn looked delighted at this turn. Finally, a way to remove Krell's protection from the humans. Tay stood in the back of the hall with Jin and Mira. His hands were shaking. He had heard of Kesh. Thane's personal champion was young but brutal, enhanced with illegal combat augmentations that made him faster and stronger than normal Vortans. You do not have to accept, Krell said to Tay later, in private. I can refuse the challenge. What happens then? Thane will push until he finds another way to test you. He wants to humiliate me for honoring a human. Better to face it now on terms we understand. Can I win? Krell was quiet for a moment. I do not know. Kesh is enhanced. He should not be, but Thane allows it. You will be fighting at a disadvantage. So, a normal day then. Tay tried to smile, but it did not reach his eyes. You have 1 week to prepare. I will teach you everything I know. Krell put a hand on Tay's shoulder. But Tay, listen. If you cannot win, survive. Living is more important than pride. That week was the hardest of Ty's life. Krell trained him past exhaustion. Jin drilled tactics into his head. Yuna prepared medicines and stimulants that would help. Mira smuggled information about Kesh's fighting style and augmentations. Every human in the arena knew what was at stake. They gathered in secret to offer support. Some shared food. Others shared stories of Earth. One young woman named Nari, barely 16, gave Ty a small piece of cloth from her Earth colony uniform. For luck, she said shyly. So you remember what you fight for. The night before the fight, Tay could not sleep. He stood in his cell, looking at the stars through a small window. Somewhere out there was Earth. Home. Would he ever see it again? A message came through on a smuggled communicator. It was from Hana. Yuna had risked much to arrange it. Brother, Hana's voice said. She sounded older than 14. The breeding pens had been hard on her. I heard about tomorrow's fight. I need you to know something. If you cannot win, do not die trying. Living matters more than pride. I need you alive more than I need freedom. Do you understand? Tay listened to the message 3 times. His sister was braver than him. Even in hell, she thought of his safety first. He recorded a message back. I understand. But I will win. Not because of pride, because every human here deserves better, because you deserve better, and because Krell believes in me. I cannot let any of you down. I love you, Hana. See you soon. The morning came too fast. Guards escorted Tay to the preparation rooms. The arena was more crowded than ever before. Thousands of aliens had come to watch. Some were reporters, broadcasting the fight across the galaxy. Others were betting huge amounts of money. In a private viewing room, Earth officials watched through long-range transmission. Earth's government had finally learned about the arena and the missing colonists. They had sent demands for release, but they had no military power to enforce those demands. All they could do was watch and hope. Krell came to see Tay before the fight. He looked worried for the first time since they met. Remember everything I taught you. But most importantly, remember this. You do not fight like a Vortan. Do not try to. Fight like a human. Be unpredictable. Be stubborn. Refuse to quit. I will. And Tay, regardless of what happens today, you are my brother. That will never change. You have already proven your worth to me. They gripped each other's arms in the Vortan way. Then it was time. Tay walked into the arena. The crowd's roar was deafening. Across from him, Kesh emerged. He was massive, even for a Vortan. His scales were polished to shine. His forearms held advanced weapons. His eyes were cold and confident. The announcer's voice boomed. Today we witness history. Will the human prove worthy of the Alpha Hunter's bond? Or will he fall like all soft-worlders must? Place your bets. The match begins in 1 minute. Tay took a deep breath. He touched the piece of cloth Nari had given him, tucked in his armor. He thought of Hana in the breeding pens, of Krell's sister Kira, who died too young, of all the humans who needed him to succeed. The bell rang, and Tay charged forward. Kesh moved faster than anything Tay had fought before. The first strike came like lightning. Tay barely dodged. The second strike hit his shield and shattered it into pieces. The third strike cut across his arm, drawing blood. 15 seconds into the fight, Tay was already bleeding. The crowd roared approval. This was what they expected. The human would fall fast, but Tay did not fall. He rolled away, using his smaller size to slip under Kesh's reach. He remembered Krell's words. Do not fight like a Vortan. Fight like a human. Kesh swung all forearms in a pattern meant to trap opponents. It was a perfect Vortan technique. Against another Vortan, it would work. But Tay dropped flat to the ground, something Vortans never did. Their rigid spines made ground fighting difficult. Tay swept his leg at Kesh's feet. Kesh stumbled, surprised. The crowd gasped. No one expected that. Clever, Kesh said. His voice was cold. But cleverness will not save you. He attacked again, faster now. His augmented body moved with inhuman speed. Tay could not dodge everything. A punch to his ribs cracked bones. A slash across his leg made him limp. But every time he fell, he got back up. Stay down, Kesh shouted, frustrated. No, Tay said simply. In the viewing room, Krell watched with Elder Koth. The human is losing, Koth observed. He is surviving, Krell corrected. Watch how he moves. He is learning Kesh's patterns. Koth looked closer. Impossible. No fighter learns that fast. Human brains are different. They adapt quickly. It is their greatest strength. On Earth, millions watched the broadcast. They saw one of their own, alone on an alien world, fighting for all of humanity's future. In streets and homes, people gathered around screens, holding their breath. In the arena, Tai was running out of time. His body was failing. Blood loss made him dizzy. Broken bones screamed with every movement. Yuna's medicine was wearing off. He needed to change the fight somehow. Kesh grabbed him with 2 arms, lifting him off the ground. He prepared to crush Tay's spine with his other 2 arms. A killing move. The crowd leaned forward. Tay did something no Vortan would ever do. He broke his own arm. The arm that had been injured in his first fight, now healed but weaker. He twisted it deliberately against Kesh's grip until it snapped. The pain was blinding, but the shock made Kesh loosen his hold for just a second. That second was enough. Tay pulled his blade with his good hand and stabbed it into the gap where Kesh's neck met his shoulder. Not a killing blow, but painful. Kesh dropped him. The crowd went silent. Did the human just break his own arm on purpose? "You are insane," Kesh said, backing away. Even he looked disturbed. "Probably," Tay agreed. He could barely stand. His vision was going dark at the edges. But he stayed on his feet. Always on his feet. Kesh's confidence was shaken. His augmentations told him the human should be dead. His training said this should be over, but nothing was going as planned. They circled each other. Tay was slower now, barely moving. Kesh approached carefully, weapons ready. He swung. Tay did not dodge. Instead, he stepped forward inside Kesh's reach. Too close for the weapons to be effective. At this distance, Tay's smaller size was an advantage. He got under Kesh's guard and used a technique Jin had taught him, a human technique called a chokehold. His good arm wrapped around Kesh's neck from behind. Kesh thrashed, but Vortan bodies were not flexible enough to reach behind their own necks easily. His augmentations made him strong but did not change his basic anatomy. Tay held on with everything he had left. "Yield," Tay whispered in Kesh's ear. Kesh tried to pull Tay off. He slammed backward into the arena wall. Tay's ribs broke. He held on. Kesh slammed again. Tay's vision went black. He held on. The human's grip did not loosen. Could not loosen. Tay had locked his arm in a way that even unconsciousness would not break it. An old military technique Jin had taught him. Kesh felt his air running out. His augmentations helped with many things, but they did not let him breathe without air. He had 2 choices: keep fighting until he passed out and maybe died, or yield. "I yield," Kesh gasped. "I yield!" The arena exploded. Half the crowd cheered. Half shouted in anger. Fortunes changed hands as bets were settled, but Tay did not hear any of it. He collapsed to the sand, finally unconscious. The medical team rushed onto the field. Yuna reached Tay first, checking his broken body.
"He is alive," she shouted.
Barely, but alive. In the viewing room, War Chief Thane stood with his face dark with rage. The human used illegal techniques. That hold is not permitted in arena combat. There is no rule against it, Elder Koth said calmly. You wanted to test if humans were warriors. You have your answer. This one defeated your champion through intelligence and courage. The matter is not finished, Thane growled. But before he could say more, alarms blared throughout the station. Red lights flashed. Commander Vorn ran to a console, his face going pale. What is happening? Thane demanded. Ships, Vorn said. Many ships. They just came out of faster-than-light travel. 20 warships. They are broadcasting on all frequencies. A voice came through the speakers. Human voice. This is Captain Day of the Earth Defense Fleet. We demand the immediate release of all human prisoners. We are prepared to use force if necessary. The arena viewing room went silent. No one had expected Earth to send military ships. The planet was supposed to be primitive. How do they have faster-than-light technology? Thane demanded. Does it matter? Elder Koth said. They are here, with 20 warships, and they are very angry. Over the next hours, everything changed fast. Earth's fleet commander met with arena officials. Negotiations happened quickly with threats and counter-threats. But Earth held strong. They wanted their people back. Commander Vorn saw opportunity, a trade. Humans go free. But Earth shares its new faster-than-light technology. Plus, humanity gets recognized as a warrior species by the Vortan Empire. In exchange, Earth provides technical knowledge and agrees to a formal alliance. War Chief Thane had to agree. He had promised recognition if the human won. The human had won. Vortan Honor demanded he keep his word even if he hated it. 3 days later, Tay woke in the medical bay. His body was covered in healing machines. Every part of him hurt, but he was alive. Krell sat beside his bed as he had after Tay's first fight. "You won, brother." "You actually won, Hana?" Tay asked, "being brought here now, along with all other humans. You are all going home." The door opened. A girl stumbled in, thin and pale but alive. Hana. She saw Tai and ran to him crying. They held each other, brother and sister reunited. Krell quietly left them alone. Over the next weeks, preparations were made. All humans were freed and moved to Earth's ships. Medical treatment was provided. Families were reunited. The humans who died in the arena were honored. But something unexpected happened. Some humans chose to stay. Jin, Mira, Yuna, and a dozen others volunteered to remain as ambassadors and instructors. The arena was changing. No longer would it be only a death trap. With humans and Vortans working together, it could become a place where warriors trained and learned from each other. Tai chose to return to Earth with Hana. She needed real medical care and time to heal. But he promised to come back. 6 months later, Tay stepped off a shuttle onto the arena station. He was 19 now, older and stronger. Scars covered his arms, but his eyes were bright. Krell waited at the dock along with several young students, both human and Vortan, and one young human girl named Nari, who had given Tai good luck before his big fight. "Ready to teach?" Krell asked. "Ready to teach them how to survive," Tay said, "and maybe how to thrive." They walked together through the station. Things had changed. Human and Vortan guards worked together. The cages were gone, replaced by training dormitories. The arena still hosted fights, but now they were sporting events, not death sentences. In the training hall, young warriors waited. Humans, Vortans, and other species all training together, learning from each other. Tay stood before them and began his first lesson. Fighting is not about being strong. It is about refusing to quit. It is about protecting those who cannot protect themselves. And it is about proving that no matter where you come from, you have worth. Krell stood beside him, his battle brother, the Alpha Hunter and the kid from Earth. Together they would train the next generation. Together they would show the galaxy that strength came in many forms. And together, they would make sure no one else had to suffer what they suffered. Earth had announced itself to the galaxy, not through weapons or conquest, but through the unbreakable bond between a young human and the warrior who called him brother. It was only the beginning. But it was a good beginning. Above them, through the station windows, stars shined bright. Each one a possibility. Each one a future waiting to be built. And for the first time in a long time, that future looked hopeful.